Hello everyone. Welcome to day 48 of Learning Data Science. And yes, we have completed with the EDA part. And today we are going to start with the data pre-processing. Okay. So basically, what all things are there in data pre-processing? Okay. I will just give you a overview of that. Again, uh, very first thing, like whenever you are importing any data set, right? You are importing your data set into your Python environment, and whether it can be any Jupyter notebook file, whether it can be any VS Code, whether it can be any Anaconda Navigator. Okay, so it doesn't matter uh, where you are uploading those files, right? The only thing is that we have performed the EDA part. Okay, and now what we need, when we discussed about the histogram, we discussed about the scatter plot, we discussed about the box plot, right? We have seen you might remember, like in the histogram, basically what is the primary function of histogram? It helps us to understand the shape of distribution, right? What's the shape of it? Again, with the help of skewness, you will able to get that, okay, my data is basically right skewed or left skewed. And what's the meaning of right skewed? That my outliers lies where? Okay, at basically the right side of the data, the maximum side, or in the minimum side, right? And when we were using box plot as well, so using box plot with the help of bubbles as well, you were able to see it. Okay, basically my data was in my maximum outliers, maximum point, or within the minimum point, right? And again, how did we calculated those outliers? Simply by using the IQR method, right? What we did, if my outliers were in the minimum, we did minimum uh, minus 1.5 times of IQR values, right? And again, what is IQR? It's interquartile range, and we can find it by Q3 minus Q1, right? And whenever my maximum, the data, the outliers was on the maximum side, right? So how did we calculate those? Again, it's the same thing we did. It was Q3 plus 1.5 times of IQR value, right? So by these things, what we did, we were able to calculate the outliers, right? Now what we do, what we need to remove those outliers. We need some treatment regarding it, right? Obviously we need it. We don't want outliers to just present in our data sets, right? We just don't want that. Okay, so what we need it, we need to treat it, we need to analyze it. Okay, just take an example. uh so your water purification, some aquaguard, right? You just don't drink the water which is being flowed from the river, right? Because right now the rivers are polluted, right? I'm not talking about ancient times. In ancient times, the rivers weren't polluted and you were able to drink those, right? But now what happened? Now basically everything is being polluted, and you need some uh, analysis, basically not analysis, you need some treatment regarding it, right? Whenever you are treating any water, like first of all, there is some filtration is there. Then obviously you are adding chlorine to the water. Then what you are doing, by adding the chlorine, you are removing the germs. Then after you are removing the chlorine from water, why? Because it will just affect your intestines or something. Means like, I'm not expert in bio or sewage wastage management, I'm not expert in that. But yes, one thing you can be able to locate is, you can be able to recall is, that whenever we are handling anything which has impurities in it, we need to do analysis of it, we need to do treatment of it. Okay, and basically what analysis means, like, you need to see what type of impurities is there, right? You want to see whether that water contains some bacteria or some impurities, like solid impurities is there, like some sand or stones are there, right? If some sand or stones are there, then definitely you will help uh, to treat that particular water with the help of filtration, okay, or sedimentation. You can be able to purify that. Again, if it is having some viruses there, right? Some viruses there, then obviously you will add some type of chemicals or some type of chlorine, right? You will certainly add those. Okay. So to treat this, but first what you did, first you analyzed it, then after that you treated it. So what is there? First analysis is there, then treatment is there. So basically what we did, in EDA part we are analyzing our data set, and in data pre-processing part we are treating those outliers. Again, it's not regarding to outliers is a sub part of data pre-processing part. Okay. There are various there are various steps as well, like if there is some categorical data is there. Okay. Categorical data, again, what do you mean by categorical data? Categorical data is the data which contains simply the string objects, right? For example, it contains only two or three values are there. Okay. If I will tell that, let's assume this is the data set of students, right? So in students, what you will get, the two categories ultimately you will get is male and female, right? Other than that you will not get any category. Other categories of others will be there, right? So two or three categories will be there. But again, in students data there are marks, and marks are the numerical data. Okay. So what, if we need, we can convert the categorical data into numerical data, or we can do vice versa. So basically these type of steps, converting the data types, uh, treating the outliers, and various things are there. Okay. In data pre-processing part, data pre-processing is the treatment, and EDA was analysis. First, we will learn EDA, then we will learn how to treat it, then we will step into model building, right? Obviously, your data will contain some duplicates values, some duplicates will be there. Okay. You might need to handle those values, right? So basically, what is data pre-processing? Data pre-processing is like you are processing your data according to your needs, according to your models, according to your evaluation, according to your research, what research you have done, and what outcome you have came upon by doing that particular research. Okay. Okay. So basically I need this particular feature, this particular column to be treated. I need this particular uh, you can say this particular join to be implemented in these two data sets. So basically these all things comes under data pre-processing. And today what we will be doing, we will be learning about the outliers. Okay. So I will be just sharing my screen, or just give me a second, guys. Okay. So I hope my screen is visible to you. And today we are going to discuss about the outliers. Again, by this particular term, these outliers, you might be familiar with this term. What do you particularly mean by outliers? Okay. So outliers, what is outliers? Outliers are the unwanted data, are the unwanted data in our data set. And if the data set contains sorry for the interruption, guys. Actually, my network got this just disconnected, and yeah. So basically, we were discussing about the outliers. Okay, we were discussing about the outliers, and again, by this particular term, this particular English word, I'm not asking with respect to data science, or I'm not asking with respect to Python, right? What do you mean by outliers? With particularly this simple term, what do you mean by outliers? Okay. So by this term itself, outliers means something which is out of the domain. Okay. So for example, you are calculating some data. Okay. Some data is there. For example, what you are doing, you are just calculating the average income, average incomes of Indians living in India, right? You are calculating. So again, what will be the outliers here? The outliers will be the billionaires who is living in India. Why? because that percent is around 1%, because only 1% of Indian population, they are billionaires, right? So that particular thing will be outlier. Why? Because with respect to billionaires, you can't be able to decide कि, okay, this is the particular average income of Indians living in India. Okay, you can't be able to decide it. If you will take the billionaires, then ultimately the average income, the average will increase whenever we are treating the outliers. So one thing you have to keep it in mind, whenever there is an outlier in your data set, the mean value of your data will get affected. Again, what's the mean? Mean is the average. We are taking the average income of Indians in India, right? So obviously most of the population of Indians are middle class, right? So what we are going to do, we are going with the most of the population. We are not taking the outliers. If we will take the outliers, then certainly we will not be able to predict accurately. Okay, what accurately means? If someone is asked, just say example, the average income of Indians living in India, just for example, say 25,000, right? 25,000 is there. You are taking 1% of billionaires. So what will happen? That 25,000 will increase to 45,000. So obviously at the end, it's hampering our analysis, it's hampering our model, whichever model we are trying to build it, right? Obviously it's hampering it. So for that particular reason, we need outliers to be removed from our data set. Okay. So here I will just write here outliers. Okay. So basically, what are the outliers? Outliers are the extreme values. Extreme values in a data set. Okay. Basically, these are the outliers which contains the extreme values. Again, if I will do how we can handle these outliers. Okay. How we can handle this? How we can how we can handle the outliers? Okay. So basically, there are we are going to learn here is today in today topic we are going to learn about outlier analysis slash treatment. Okay. So basically, we are going to learn these all things in today topic, and there are three steps, three types of outliers treatment is there. Okay, what are those three steps? So the first step is random errors. Okay, so here I will just write it. First is first is 3R technique. 3R technique, and within this 3R, what all things include? Okay, the first is rectify. Okay, the second is retain, and the third thing is remove. Okay, so we will discuss this each term one by one. What do you mean by rectify? What do you mean by remove? Okay, so these all things we will discuss 1 by 1. So rectify means by mistake you have entered this data. Okay. For example, there is some department in data entry, right? And he might be working continuously for 8 hours. So what happened? He might feel drowsy and he just slept it. He slept and he missed entering some data, or instead of 1,000, instead of 199, he wrote 1999. Okay. So what happens? It's like by mistake you are entering this data. Okay. So we can easily rectify it. Okay. And the second thing is retain. Retain means if the data is genuine, if the data is genuine. Okay. For example, you are predicting some sales. Okay, some sales is there, some sales department is there, and they have done that. They have came to a conclusion that in this particular month, the sales have increased. In previous months, suppose the sale was in last month, the sale was 2K, right? Now, in this month, it is 299K. And obviously in past months, okay, in past months, the sales were, you can say 2K, 1.5K, 3K, 4K, 2.8K. Okay. Also, these all were there in past months. You can see the sales were 2K, 1.5K, 3K, 4K. And suddenly, in this particular month, the present month, the sales happen to be 299K. So obviously, being a CEO of the company, he will just, what you have done? Either the sales department had worked good, the marketing department had worked good, that particular reason, or they might have done anything, means like some error is there. Obviously, the CEO of that particular company will be shocked. He will be shocked, obviously. If you are the CEO of the some marketing company and if you see your sales is being increasing, then certainly you will question your marketing department. But being a CEO, I question marketing department, I can question sales department, I question the data entry department as well. And they all said, no, this is genuine. So what I will do, being as a data scientist, I will take this data. Okay, we can consider this data. So basically, this means we can retain the data. Again, that is upon our domain understanding, for which domain, for which project we are working on. Okay. So that depends upon our domain understanding. Now, in remove that after analysis, we found that this data is irrelevant. Then we will remove this data. Then we will remove this data. Okay. And after analysis means what? Here you have seen the sales, basically the sales was 299K. But when I have analyzed it, being a data scientist, I analyzed and I found that upon marketing, we have spent 300K, 300K, or we had spent 299K. So what will happen after seeing this? We are able to locate that the profit, basically the profit margin here is in minus. It's minus 1K. It's minus 1K. And for here, it's plus 1K. Plus 1K is there. So obviously this data as a CEO, I will just fire my marketing department. And, bro, what you are doing? You are making my company in loss. You are just spending 300K in marketing and you are claiming that you have got 299K sales. No, this doesn't work. Here you can say the past month sales was 2K. I was getting profit of 2K. I was getting profit of 1.5K. Similarly, 3K, 2.8K. These all things were there. But right now, what happened? You have spent 300 on marketing and the sales was only 299K. So deep down, somewhere it is wrong. So what we will do? We will remove this data. We will remove this data. Again, how did we remove? We found this upon analysis. Okay, this data should be removed. So I hope you have understood this. The very first thing, the very first part is 3R analysis. Okay, so we will be stopping here, and tomorrow we will be learning the next steps of outliers treatment. Okay, so if you want to take screenshot, you can take, and I hope you guys are making running notes, not sitting idly on your sofa and watching this video and wasting your time. Okay, so I don't want that. Just keep making running notes, and if you want to write this, you can just move the video backward because it's being recorded and you can watch n number of times as you like. So till then, keep practicing it. See you tomorrow. Bye bye. Jai Hind.